All right, here we go. Good morning from the Wichita Public Schools. We're coming to you live from the Penguin exhibit at the Sedgwick County Zoo. And with us is Carrie and Kara. Carrie, I'm handing it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. It is such an apt day to be outside at the zoo in an ocean exhibit. So we're here at the Penguin exhibit, the Cessna Penguin Cove, and we're going to talk a little bit about waves in motion and how those waves affect beach life. And then we might meet some real stars of the show. So our penguins are Humboldt penguins, and they actually live on the coast of Peru and Chile, which is warm. They live on the edge of one of the driest deserts in the planet. I know that when we first discussed getting penguins at the zoo, I was amazed to find out not all penguins live where it's cold. So our penguins actually nest in a very warm area, but the Humboldt Current that is just off the coast is cold. So it's important that they have just the right feathers at just the right time so they can go fishing. Now, if you're a Humboldt penguin and you are going to go on a little journey to find some food, you're going to have to hop down the shoreline to go get in the water. And we're going to take a little walk along the shoreline and see what these penguins might see as they're getting ready for breakfast. The shoreline is very rocky, and it makes it hard for a penguin because penguins don't have long climbing legs, but you would be amazed at the hops they can do to get to the places they need to go. And sometimes at the shoreline, we find some really interesting things, like the washed up remains of a whale. And this would have happened because the whale would have died. We don't know why, but it would have been washed ashore by the waves of the ocean. The waves of the ocean move a lot of things around. They move around carcasses of whales and the eggs of fish and even the pores of the coral that are reproducing in the ocean every day. To live in the coastline is not an easy job because there's a high tide and a low tide. And sometimes you live in a place where you get wet part of the time and stay dry other times. And down here, we have some creatures that have that sort of habitat going on all the time. So as you can see, these are not actual real creatures. They are great models that our graphics department made, but there's little crabs and mussels and barnacles and starfish. And these guys have to be prepared to be out of the water for at least part of the day if they can't move. So think about the mussels and the barnacles. They can't move. They're stuck where they're at. So when the tide goes out and it begins to dry out a little bit, they close up. Those mussels close their shells. Those barnacles tuck in and close a little valve on top so that they can keep the moisture inside their shell with them. But creatures that can scuttle about like the crabs, if it's a time when they need to get their gills wet, they'll just scamper back into the water. They spend a lot of time coming in and out. And the cool thing about waves is the waves are what is feeding these animals. The mussels and the barnacles both are filter feeders, easy for me to say. And when the tide is in, they'll open their shells, and the mussels, the little black things that look like clams, they'll open up and they'll let the water wash over them, and they'll filter out the particles that they want to eat. The same kind of thing is happening with the barnacles, but they aren't so passive. They're actually hunting their food. Their valve opens and they stick out these cute little frills and they grab things and pull them back down inside of their little barnacle shell with them. And then they will digest them that way. And we can't go on without talking about the starfish because everybody loves starfish. And I think a lot of people know that starfish are not really fish, but they're more of an invertebrate that is climbing around looking for food to digest with its stomach that's underneath and can come out of their body. They don't eat with a mouth like we do. They actually push their stomach out, cover what they're going to eat, and suck it back in. So these guys are very interesting, and they have quite a life going on in the intertidal regions. But we're going to come over here and talk about some interesting creatures that depend on more of the wide open ocean too. Oh, and look, there just happens to be a zookeeper here with us. I'm gonna make sure her mic is on. There we go. So friends, this is my friend Steph, and she's a penguin keeper, and she's gonna take us around the edge here, and we're gonna get to go see some penguins close up. Are you guys ready for that? I bet so. Well, let's go.
Come on back.
Are you able to navigate that with a camera? That's not an easy job. I didn't think about that. There's lots of things I don't think about. So we are officially behind the scenes at Sedgwick County Zoo, Cessna Penguin Cove. And we're getting ready to go up the little runway that the penguins go up, because penguins come in every night, don't they, Steph?
Yes, they do.
And oh, yum. This is my breakfast, everybody. I'm on a really big protein diet right now, and I'm getting ready to eat all my sushi. Just kidding. You could not pay me enough to put one of those in my mouth. So those are fish for the penguins. If you want to go up, I'll make sure this shuts. I'm gonna let us head up. I'm gonna shut the gate, and we're gonna see if the penguins are interested in some snacks.
We also have some flighted birds in our exhibit too, so that's why we closed this off, just another secondary containment for them. They might be a little skittish. They're not used to all of us with our rain gear and all that kind of good stuff. See if they'll want to come up. Hi, guys.
So these guys are coming up for their breakfast snacks. Is this a normal feeding time, Steph, or are we off schedule?
Jason already gave them their medicated fish already and a couple other fish to keep them tied over till this evening when we bring them inside, and like you said, then they get all the kinds of fish that they want. So now this is just a snack for them.
And you've got one right here who's so hungry. Oh, poor friend.
This one's kind of ornery right now.
Oh.
He's one of our chicks from 2 years ago. His name's actually Machu.
Machu.
But they definitely have a terrible tooth.
Oh, yeah, I can commiserate with
They're
that.
kind of ornery, but he's really cute.
So he doesn't really want it. He just wants to pretend he wants it.
Exactly. It's just a fake out.
I don't know if you guys can hear what sounds like donkeys braying in the background, but that's actually the noise that the penguins make. And they're calling to everybody, and they're saying good morning. And I've actually never had the opportunity to be in this exhibit with no barrier between me and the penguins. So it's very interesting to me.
Just watch your feet.
Yeah, are my shoelaces?
We're still here. We must have lost a bit of a camera feed. So it'll be just a quick moment. Kristen, if you've got your camera. It may have just hit a spot where the internet is a little dicey.
A lot of fish.
There we go. Let's try that again.
Do they ever
You're back, Carrie?
You know,
Yeah, we're back. Sorry about that.
Uh-oh. Did we fall off the radar?
Oh, we're back. We're good.
Oh.
We have lots of things going on. We've got some very busy penguins.
I'm surprised he actually cares, and that's probably why most of them are over there, because they're very skittish. It takes them a while. We have barriers for our penguin encounter, and it took them forever to get used to those. Now I can't get them to scoot out of the way. So.
Yes. Well, I know new things are kind of different for me too, but it's really cool that these guys are interested in what's going on, because they give us a chance to spread a conservation message with our guests. These guys do something great that a lot of animals do. They poop, and they actually need that poop for an important reason. Remember earlier I said they lived on a rocky beach that didn't have a lot of vegetation or sand? they need something to nest in because it is warm where they're at. So what they do is they actually make burrows in the layers of guano or penguin poop, and they lay their eggs down in those burrows so the sun doesn't cook their eggs. So they stay just the right temperature so that they don't have to worry about them not hatching. And they're also protected from predators, and it helps keep them nice and protected. And you guys will also see there are some birds that are flighted. That means they can fly. They're coming and getting some of the fish too because they're also fish eaters. Oh, look, there they go.
Oh, the penguin beat them
These are Inca terns. Do we still have gray gulls in here?
Yes.
Oh, I see them down there.
Yep, they're hiding on the rockwork.
And then, Steph, can you tell us a little bit about these holes that are in the wall? Are they just fun holes, or is there a purpose?
They actually, on the other side, this is Chili, our nice penguin. He might come up and say hi to you guys.
Oh, he's escaping. We have one almost escaping.
There you go. Thank you.
He was heading for the door.
Oh, yeah.
Never a dull moment when you work with kids or animals. Wasn't that one of
sure.
W.C. Fields' things?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we always have to keep our eyes open. Chili is definitely checking out your shoes.
Yes.
He
Very
is the
interesting.
footwear inspector.
Down background. I think he approves.
Hi, buddy.
Do you want to fish? Oh, yeah. No? No?
Nope, just inspecting. Oh, and there's a penguin poo right there. And if it were not raining, it wouldn't follow the pattern of the water. It would just build up. But we don't want their guano to build up here because we provide them with the nest boxes that Steph was just getting ready to talk about.
Yes. Yes. So they do have, their breeding season is once a year. We usually open up their nest boxes at the beginning of December. So yes, on the back wall, we have 6 open holes back there. And then on the other side of that, we have doors currently that are closed. And so at the beginning of the breeding season, then we'll pull the doors off of the nest boxes. And then selected pairs can go into the nest box and use that for their breeding. We just use kennels like you'd use for your dog or cat as their nest box. And so we actually have certain pairs. Sometimes we move some penguins to the back because they aggravate the rest of the colony out here, or they'll try and take a nest box. So Chili's got a lot to say, and you be nice. Watch out for this guy right here.
Okay, don't bite me hard, just the edges of my pants.
Good thing you're wearing pants too.
Yes. So sometimes in the wild, when other penguins have issues with not having enough habitats to nest in, researchers and conservationists will go out and make nest boxes out of interesting things for them as well.
Yeah.
One of the things that Sedgwick County Zoo has done in the past is we understand that guano, the Humboldt penguins, is important for agriculture. It makes really good fertilizer. And so we want the people to be able to make some money and make a living by harvesting that guano. But we also have to be careful that they don't take too much. So sometimes we are able to send keepers out to help monitor the guano harvest to make sure that not too much is being taken out. Steph, have you done that?
I haven't.
You
Phil
haven't?
did.
Phil has done that.
Yeah.
Phil is our senior keeper, and he's been able to go out and do that. I can't imagine that it would be a not smelly experience because penguins do have stinky poop. They are eating fish, so it has sort of an aroma to it. But it's important that we find a bridge that can keep people happy and animals happy so that we can all get along. And I double knotted my shoe today, so good luck with that. Oh, yes, it's very frustrating. So these guys are so interesting. You said that Jason already gave them their medicated fish?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I have some fish here. So this is the smallest fish that they feed on. It's called smelt. It's one of their favorites. This is probably their most favorite. This is trout, more of the fattier fish that we feed. This is the biggest, most nutritious. It's called herring. And then I don't have any of the capelin in here. That's usually their least favorite, although they're eating pretty well of it right now. And actually, we actually feed them some small herring, so this just much smaller. So they get a medicated fish. So what that means is we actually put a multivitamin into the gill of the fish and hand feed each one of them, like I was kind of doing earlier. If he'll take it, which he's kind of being picky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so they also get a vitamin B supplement every other day. And we get their fish in frozen. And so when we thaw it out, it loses nutrients. So that's why we give them the other extra vitamins. And then they also get an avian malaria preventative. They can get that transmitted by mosquitoes.
Right. And that's part of the reason they come in each night?
That's correct, yes. So they're not around those mosquitoes as much, and then it just keeps them on a routine of coming in. We've had to do maintenance work to the pool and that kind of thing.
Right,
so
yeah.
That definitely helps us out as well.
Just like it's helpful for you guys to have a routine, you know, you have a bedtime and a wake up time and a recess time. Those routines, even though the wake up time part might get on your nerves, it's actually very good for you to have a routine, because then you know what's coming and you're able to plan your day. So these penguins are sort of able to plan their day, and it keeps them moving along like we need them to, so that we can service the exhibit or provide more protection for them. And are there temperature thresholds for these guys? Is there a temperature in which they have to stay inside?
Not necessarily. We had those really cold days last February.
Yeah.
And when it got that cold, we actually will give them access so they can go outside if they like, but then we can keep the ones inside too. It's all up to them.
Yeah, we believe in the animals having the choice to go in or out or eat or not eat. So we give them lots of opportunities for choice and control all over the zoo. All the animals have some ability to choose what they want or not want. But just like your parents give you choices, we have to make sure the choices are healthy choices that they can choose between. Yes. And we also have to make sure that we don't give so many choices that they get confused and grumpy. Oh, there's a penguin behind us looking very suave.
That's kind of like his area.
That's his area. Yeah. Is that Chili again, or is that a different one?
No, that's a different one.
So Steph is really good about telling these guys apart. I think they all look very similar, but how could we figure out the difference between them? Could you tell us a little bit about their fabulous fashion jewelry?
On their wing, oh, he's talking to us. On their wings, they have all these colored, basically bracelets. It's kind of like a glorified rubber band, but they all have a different color combination, so we can tell them all apart. Usually the males are just a little bit bigger than the females. Obviously penguins don't fly, so usually the females weigh 8 to 10 pounds, and then the males will weigh 10 to 12 pounds. And their bills are usually a little bit bigger as well. But we read left wing to right wing. So like this one that you're looking at, his name essentially is orange yellow. Some of them do have house names like Chili. We know some of them, but really we just use their band colors to communicate with each of us. So.
Well, and that's probably a more fail-safe way to make sure that you're just penguin.
Yes.
And that way you'd be healthy. Hi, everybody. They
are
really vocal
now. Yeah.
Is this Chili right here with the wings spread?
Yeah, that's not his nest box area. So he has been our #1 recommended breeding pair previously. It can fluctuate from year to year just based on the breeding recs that we get every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has been our #1 breeder since I've been here. So about 8 years. He finally had a chick with his girlfriend a couple years ago.
Yay!
So yeah, that's really good news. So he is our #1 recommended pair just because his genetics are so diverse. So that's
how long does it take the penguin egg to develop from being laid to hatching? How long is that process?
Yeah, usually the female will lay 1 to 2 eggs, and it takes about 38 to 40 days for the chicks to hatch. Yeah, he sounds a little hoarse.
Sounds like the baritone of the group. Yeah. That's funny.
All right, Carrie, we have some questions from the chat. Are you ready for those?
They have like a little cove area, and then...
I'm sorry, Smoke, say that again.
We've got some questions from the chat. Are you ready for some?
Oh, we are so ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, so one of them is, where does one find a penguin's ears?
Penguin what?
Ears.
Oh, that is a good question. Their ears are on their skull, but they're covered by feathers. Steph, you probably know more of the anatomy than I do.
Yeah, they're basically, they don't actually have an outer part of their ear like the pinnae that we have on ours, but they do have, it's basically just like an ear hole. So it is covered with feathers. Usually the feathers are just a little bit thinner around the ears too, kind of like parrots as well. It's just a little bit thinner so they can still hear. But yeah, it's like just a hole. Basically.
Yeah.
What are some other questions we have, Smoke?
Do penguins have kneecaps?
Oh,
Do penguins have kneecaps?
they actually do. It looks like they're waddling, but they actually do have knees. They're just very high up.
So what we're actually seeing is the ankle. Is that right?
Yeah.
So we see their ankle.
That one is just
I'm telling you, he is.
ornery today.
My boots don't quite come high enough sometimes.
What other questions are there, Smoke?
So the third grade class at Lincoln Elementary wants to know if penguins can jump.
Oh,
They
Well,
can.
they are. I wouldn't say jump like Michael Jordan jump. You guys probably don't even know who Michael Jordan is. I'm that old. LeBron James jump. There, that's more timely. They do a lot of hopping, and they have to be able to hop so that they can get up on that rocky beach. And these guys have been hopping around. Oh, sorry, buddy. I didn't see you coming.
Yeah, they actually can hop up to this step and then up here. And then, there's like some lower steps. They're not so graceful when they do it, and they do have little nails on the edge of their feet too that helps them grip onto stuff.
And there's some interesting things about their bones too, isn't there? Instead of having hollow bones like our flighted birds, they've got a little bit heavier, more dense bones,
Correct.
don't they?
Yeah, it's kind of like us. We have the heavy, solid bones, whereas flighted birds, like, our gulls and terns in here, have hollow bones. So
He got her.
He did.
oh no,
Look at it. He's going for the shoelaces.
That's all right.
we'll try and untie him.
He got me when I wasn't looking. I
Oh,
wasn't paying
no.
enough attention. But you know what? If it leaves a bruise, I can tell people about it.
Yeah. it's a cool story.
So, but they need those more dense bones so they can dive in the water. If not, they would just float at the top and wouldn't be able to get down to the fish that they're looking for.
That's right.
So it looks like a lot of them are
How many
starting to kind of
penguins
like-
are in the exhibit?
How many penguins?
We have 32. So we have 30 adult penguins, and then we actually have 2 from this year that hatched. And they look a little bit different. I don't know if you can see over there on the far side of the exhibit on the little ledge. Ow, you're really ornery. We have those 2 chicks from this year. They hatched in March, and they look a little bit different. They don't have that black band on their chest, as well as the mask on their face. So they'll get that next molting season, so next summer.
And the penguins do, isn't it called a catastrophic molt?
That's correct.
So they lose their feathers all at once and then grow them back in all at once. So they don't really go swimming during that time or eat during that time, do they?
That's correct.
Because they're not protected from that cold water. Even though these guys look like they probably are soaked down to their skin, it's dry underneath there, and that keeps them just the right temperature. And that's all due to their special feathers.
Okay, next question. How many layers of feathers do Humboldt penguins have? Mr. Ryan's class wants to know.
I think they more or less have 2.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but they do have like a waterproof layer. So when they dive down, the air gets trapped underneath that layer, and that's what helps them keep them waterproof.
Right. So they've got fuzzy-ish feathers underneath and then slick feathers on top that act like their wetsuit. And so if you're ever out in the exhibit here at the zoo and you see bubbles coming off of them, that's some of the air underneath escaping. I think that we have time for one more question, and then we're going to escape because these guys are, they're calling our bluff over here.
Okay, the last question is, can they fly?
Penguins cannot fly because they have heavier bones, so they're too heavy to fly. They don't have the right kind of feathers. They don't have any flight feathers, and they just aren't built for it. You can see their wings or their flippers are shaped kind of like sea turtle flippers, and they're made to get them to go through the water. So they're swimmers, not flyers. Don't look at my knee. I see you looking at my knee. All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap up with the penguins because I'm over here getting flooded by curious penguins. They like canes a lot. So thank you, guys. I'll let him give his speech too. Is it a male or female?
It's a male.
Okay, good. I'll let him give his speech and we will bid our penguin friends adieu. And we will see you on a sunny day, penguins. Bye, everybody.